Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head boys basketball coach at Fowlerville. Of course, is Jim Jonas. How's it going?
Going good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Of course, getting ready for the season. Of course, you're just coming off tennis season. And then, of course, you're one of the few people that coach all three seasons. You're also
Yeah.
the boys and girls tennis coach at Fowlerville as well. Also kind of talk about how excited you are to start this season.
Yeah, we're real excited. We lost a week of preparation this year with the MHSA changing the schedule the way it did. So it's honest. We feel like we're all of a sudden you blink and it was time to play a game. So we're feeling a little panicky that way. But I think every team's in the same boat with that. But yeah, we're excited. We've been pretty much going 2 hours a day here for the last 2 weeks here since the week of Thanksgiving, and just it's honest, it's time.
Yeah. All right. So talk about some of the players that are returning and some players to watch out for as well.
Sure. Okay. We graduated 4 out of 5 starters. So the one returning starter is Brennan Ray. He's a junior. Started last year. Like I said, he was a sophomore up on varsity last year. He's our leading returning scorer. He was just a hair under 10 points a game. He wasn't called upon to score last year. We had Greg Wilkinson in the post, and then Carter Young and Jack Schrader, 2 third-year perimeter players for us, and they did a bulk of the scoring. But when Brennan was needed to score, there was a couple of games where he really stepped up for us. So he's going to shoulder more of the load this year. Then we also have 2 other returning players that played significant minutes, Wyatt Soley and Will Schrader. Both of them are sophomores, so they were up last year as freshmen. And obviously they weren't asked to do a whole lot last year, but this year they're going to be required to do more. And then we got a couple of holdovers from last year's varsity team, Alex Jonas and Jacob Addington. As juniors last year, didn't see a whole lot of action. So this year their roles are going to be expanded.
Okay, so looking at the first few weeks, how do you think your team is? How do you think your team's at? Where do you think your team is at this year?
Well, we're not quite sure with all this new people, new kids having to play new roles and whatnot. One thing's for sure though, with our schedule before Christmas break, we're going to find out a lot about ourselves. We play at Lansing Everett, Lansing Eastern, Owasso, Mason, and then Pinckney. So we see 5 really good ball clubs that should be really good ball clubs that are well coached and differing styles. So we're gonna have to be ready. We're gonna be hit a bunch of different ways, and we got to be ready for that. So that, to me, that's going to be a good challenge. That'll really show us, the coaching staff, just how well we are, how quick can we adapt to changes, and how can we think on our feet out there. We're gonna have to.
Yeah. Let's talk about how your division is going to look this year. You got, of course, the CAAC is always strong, especially in your division. What's it going to be like going up against a lot of those teams? Of course, you got the D2 state champions, of course, in your division as well.
Yeah. Nothing big there, right? But no, our division, there's never a good year to be a rebuilding year. It's just so talented. Williamston graduated a ton, but they're still going to be good. I think the last 2 years, maybe 3, I'm not sure, they've kind of won the JV portion of the league. I'm not going to keep stats on that, but they've won it. So they're still going to be talented. Mason's going to be extremely talented. They've got a bunch of young kids coming up through that program. They're set for a good number of years. And then Hazlitt's always tough. St. John's, that they get the most out of those kids up there in St. John's. Let me tell you, they're so well coached, and they've got a bunch of kids coming back. And then you've got Eastern, who's just so athletic. And at the end of the year, they were playing the best ball in our league outside of Williamston. I mean, they beat us the last league game of the season last year. If we'd have won it, we would have finished second, and they got us at our place and they beat us. And we were playing pretty good ball at the end of the year. So, and they've got a bunch of kids back. So, and their coach was a first-year coach last year. So now he's got a year of the system and, get the kids into the system. So they're going to be tough. So, yeah, there's no freebies in our league. That's for sure.
Absolutely. There's no freebies in any league.
Yeah.
And of course, William, you mentioned new coaches. Williamston will have a new one this year. Obviously, very familiar in basketball circles, Koji Broom, of course, we might have later on this week. Talk about what that's going to be like to go up against Williamston with a brand new coach.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of variables because there's not a lot of film out there. So we don't play them later in the year. So hopefully we'll be able to get some good film and get a little bit of an idea of what they're trying to do and what they're good at and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it just changes the dynamics when we get new blood like that into the league. So
You kind of mentioned your non-conference schedule for the month of December. Of course, you're playing some Lansing schools for the first two games. Owasso, Pinckney is going to be right before Christmas. What's that going to be like? And where do you want to see this team out of as we head into after the Christmas break and heading into the new year?
right. Well, it'll be fun playing Pinckney. It always is fun playing county schools. A little bit extra. It almost feels like a league game sort of with the intensity because you're playing kids that you probably run into at other things because of location. So, and then as far as what I want to get out of these first 5 games, I want to know where we are. Like, who are we when January rolls around? What is going to be our identity? What are we going to do? What are we going to do to hurt teams to win games? That kind of, what do we turn to? That's kind of what I'm looking for in these first 5, 6, 7 games. What is our identity? Because we can go a couple different ways yet. So, we got to figure this out as to where we're going. So hopefully by the new year, we'll have a much better idea than we do tonight.
All right. Well, Jim Jonas, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to you guys this year.
All right. Thanks a lot, Casey. Talk to you soon.